Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to another video edition of my newsletter, AI versus Marshy. And this week, we want to talk to an article pointing to the best is yet to come, of course. I actually want to walk through in a bit of detail how I write this newsletter, because I've got a lot of questions over time. And I want to talk through a new tool that I'm absolutely loving and paying for called Audio Pen. So let's get on with it. So first, I want to highlight an article by two people. One's Entropy Newsletter, and the other one is an article called The AI Crowd is Mad. The latter article was written by someone named Tim and sort of talked to this bubble of hype we have around, this paring down and simplification, and that, a lot of the discussion on LLMs is not nuanced, i.e., LLMs are crap or LLMs are really good, and here's why. There's no doubt. Sort of in discussions and hype about the AI world to this point is that there's been investor hype. I think the takes that we're seeing tend to be quite polarizing. It's not surprising. This is how media works. They look to push or emotionally hijack you towards one extreme or the other, and there's not much range or nuance in between, which I try to strive for a bit in this newsletter. You let me know if I'm hitting the right notes. And so one of the things that I really liked about this discussion, though, from the two articles I read, was a new chart to look at. And I think in the past, I've walked through a chart called the cycle. And so, with AI, this is clearly where we are now. And then there's a bit of a deflation. And then we actually get into something that is applicable and usable. And, this is a model that sort of stood the test of time for a lot of new tech. I think the gentleman named Fraser actually points to a different chart and thinks this is where we're at here. It's not even getting started. There's going to be a disconnect and a turning point, and then it's actually going to fundamentally alter things until the next surge comes. And so, it's a different way of looking at it. It's definitely something that is continue to grow interest and obviously elicit discussion. But one of my benchmarks or heuristics for referencing this is simply running it past and does it pass the mum test. And so I was there a few weeks ago and asked my mum, have you heard of ChatGPT? She goes, what? And I pulled out the voice and said, hey, can you explain what you do to my mum? And, it gave a fairly generic answer. It didn't really tell us anything. And then mum prompted me to say, well, does it know how to give me instructions on how to sew a jumper that's torn on the left? I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Let's check. And then it gave me a really detailed answer. Start by turning the jumper inside out, thread a needle with a thread collar, da 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 da. And mum was suitably impressed. But even with that, taken into consideration, I wasn't impressed enough to download the app or to pay for the premium subscription that something like this would enable. So I think one close on this thought is that my friend linked me to a podcast about Meta's play with AI and integration to Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. It feels very much like a bolt-on, but one way this could work is actually making this capability accessible to people like my mum. And so that could be quite a Trojan horse if it works for them. Good luck. So I got a lot of questions about how I write the newsletter, and I gave a huge amount of detail in my newsletter this week and just how I write it. I think I'll just talk through it in broad strokes for you, because it's in video format. But essentially, what I do is skim through my emails, throughout the week and on my phone and on my computer. Anything that looks interesting goes into Reader, and then when it comes to sifting through. Usually the day before, I'll go through and chuck the articles I like and think of a good fodder for an idea or an article into a text file called newsletter notes. Then I open up another text file. It's very simple. It's a software I use called Typora, and just write it up. And then hit publish with a few checks and balances to make sure I don't make mistakes. I do still make mistakes, but at least less than what I would otherwise. And then post sending, I'll do a video the next day, which I upload to LinkedIn, which you might be seeing it on now, or YouTube. Hello, you very few viewers. And I think closing thoughts on this one, it's a long-term play. Actually, the metrics are nice to look at, like click-through rates, people opening it, da da da. But for me, my goal is to get to 100 editions. That's more important to me than anything else. I think I've got a track record with other projects of losing interest and fading away. This one is so important to me that I'm willing to bet the house on getting to 100 emails. It costs me about 5 to 10 hours a week. It used to be much longer, and I have had wonderful opportunities arise off the back of it, both commercial and even co-founder ops. So yeah, it's definitely a long-term play for me. And I think I can do growth. Like I'm a growth marketer. I know how to do that. I think the important thing is raising the quality bar and getting to that 100 more so than focusing on the marketing of it. So that's that. I want to close with a tool I'm really a big fan of. So this is AudioPen AI. I wonder what happens if I open it. Will it show all my embarrassing notes? Yeah, and so there's some thoughts there. But actually, really like this tool, and I'll tell you why. I love just voicing my thoughts and doing a brain dump, and I've done this in my car. I've done this on walks. It's really weird when you are talking to yourself and walking past someone, and they don't know, or do they? But you do work your way past it. And the beauty of this, it clarifies your thoughts. And so I've tried using ChatGPT for this purpose. It sucks. It bumps in, it interrupts you. Even if you say, do not say a single other word until I say the word blue cactus, it will still interrupt. So Audio Pen is a solution to this problem. What it lets you do is just word vomit down a phone, 5 minutes the free version, 15 minutes the full version, and then it'll translate in a text, and the text could be, a casual memo to yourself. It can be a bullet point list. It could be legalese, but if we look at legalese, it's I don't even know lawyers that talk like this. It's hot garbage, but the casual language was perfect. And actually, one of the articles in my newsletter, I actually just worded out first. It was really helpful and clear. So check out AudioPen. They've got a free version. I used the full version because I've been thinking about it. Okay, well, how can I integrate it into the rest of my workflow, like my website or my Airtable? And what other cool things can I do with it? So yeah, that's the newsletter for today. Bit of a smattering of everything. If you enjoyed, thanks. Let me know, comment, or just send me a note. And if you'd like the written version, it's beautiful, then you can go and subscribe at lukemarshall.net/newsletter. Pleasure talking to you this morning. Have a wonderful weekend, and you'll hear from me next week.